60 degrees around me, maybe what's to come, or what might have been. All the things I've missed, all the things I remember. Walk away, I'd have to be out of my mind. Oh, maybe I'm a little crazy, but you know, to walk away, I'd have to be out of my mind. Sometimes it all that I think about say it's too late for us to turn back time. Oh, I never could do it anyway. Everyone, I'm stuck in here by myself, 'cause there's only room for one inside. But the voices in here, they make me think maybe there's somebody else that's watching from behind the curtain. It's too late for us to turn back now, but I wanna get turned back now. So the rain pours on the stone, so will kill you. So too much of a good day, maybe not so. So the rain pours on the blood, so will kill you. So too much of a good day, maybe not so good.
me stop. Let's play the intro music. It's your boy Concert Biz 34. We're gonna talk some more DMB tour tonight. Shout out to people who put their requests in the warehouse. Shout out to people who are planning way too many tour dates right now and they don't know if their bank account can make it. Shout out to the pit babies of 2022. Use your kid to get to the front of the pit. Make sure they wear a mask though. Shout out Tom Brady. Free my dog Shotgun. Make him be liberated. Free my dog A Dream So Real. He been locked up for a minute. Shout out to the third verse of Gray Street. Just got out last year. You know, he did a long bit in the prison. Free the One Sweet World intro. RIP number 36. All right, so we are back again. Luke says he was at this show. This was Riverbend. This show right here that we just played. This was Riverbend. If we zoom out, you guys will be able to see it a little better. And obviously there's no Riverbend. And actually, interesting conversation. Shout out to everyone in Ants Marching Forums. Before we get underway with the ticket pricing, I'm going to show you guys tickets. You know, somebody in the forum said, listen, we don't know what's going to happen. But someone's like, oh, they're probably going to make up for Cincinnati for, what is it? Pittsburgh, aka Burgettstown is, outside of Pittsburgh. They're going to make up for those 2 dates. Maybe they'll go to St. Louis for a winter tour. And I was like, get out of here. All right. Maybe they'll do Chirac at the United Center or the Allstate Arena right by the airport that is technically in Rosemont, Illinois, with literally on the line of Rosemont and Chicago. Now, I personally do not think that the band is going to have a heavy Midwest presence. And shout out to Groton, aka, and then we free break for it. Hey, stay focused at work out there. I know you told me you were at work, so stay focused at work. Allegedly he's at work. Thank you for tuning in, Greg. And then we have Rest in Peace, Jimmy Thing. Yes, Jimmy Thing can go missing this year. It can be abducted, and it's not going to be taken for. We're just going to let it stay out there, right? They can kidnap. Like, I can see a terrorist like, hello, we have Jimmy Thing. Hello. You don't want to pay ransom for Jimmy Thing? No. But some people, and listen, I get it. There's a lot of emotions right now for people who live in the Midwest or you live in Pittsburgh, which essentially has the culture of Appalachia and the Midwest. I had my babysitter was from Pittsburgh. It's really it's like the gateway into the Midwest. Eastern Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania are like two totally different worlds. Luke says he likes Jimmy Thing every once in a while. It's better if it just went away for a little bit and then we could appreciate it from afar by not being on set list. But I know what you mean. I get it. I like it every now and then. That's cool. But anyway, so yeah, essentially someone said in the Ants Marching forums, yeah, I think they're going to do this. And look, we don't know. We don't even know if there's going to be a fall tour. We assume with Hollywood Bowl being set up that it's going to be signaling a new album. But I really think that, yes, and one of the arguing points was, hey, the reason that they're going to do the Midwest, or the chance they're going to do it, is because they did so many unique things in the main tour. They're going to make up for it in the fall tour. Now, here's the thing. The changes they made to this tour are a reflection of the band trying new things in the summer, and also trying to reach new markets that are more, that have substantial fan base, right? Or substantial fans and population growth. So Austin's added. Austin is a very fast growing city of people moving from California. Oh, Greg's boss left. All right, he's good. He's good. But like Austin, Texas, and Austin's already been on the tour circuit, right? We have the Orion Amphitheater. That's further south, right? A lot of these new tour stops are more south and more east. People are leaving the Midwest. Now, again, there could be a Chicago show. I could be wrong. They could be St. Louis too. But people are leaving the Midwest, right? They're moving from the Midwest to Arizona. They're moving from the Midwest down to Texas. They're moving from the Midwest down to other parts. Uh, Greg says Scranton and Hershey is asking where the tour days are. Yeah, Hershey is never going to get a tour again. That venue it's open air. I've been to Hershey Park. Fish will get tour stops. Other bands will, but DMB will never play that again. It's just an open air stadium, and we're going to talk about ballparks versus in football stadiums versus regular shows in a moment. I'm going to show you some set lists at the end of towards the end of the show to compare those. Right, DMB can't sell Scranton, and again, and the thing about that is Scranton and Scranton's population is declining. Where am I sitting at Alpine both nights? I don't know yet. I put in I got to put in my request. I'm going to probably request one of the nights. I'm going to try to go for the highest, like, for pit. And then if I get downgraded, I get downgraded. I think it's going to be night 2. I'm going to try to put in for the highest. Night 1, I may put like reserved. I don't know yet. But I definitely trying to get as close as possible for both of those nights at face value if I can. If not, I'll figure it out. So, but I'm going to put those requests. I still haven't done it. I just kind of want to chill for a little bit, and then I'll put the requests in this weekend. My point being is, I think there may be 3 Midwest tour stops, counting Pittsburgh, right? Counting Ohio. Sorry, not Pittsburgh, but counting Ohio and all points west of that in the Midwest before you get to the Mountain Time Zone. I think at most there'll be 3, and that's generous. That's generous because, again, the winter tours, even though they did stuff different this summer, the winter tours, the band is saying, look, we're just trying to get to the shortest distances possible, and maybe Charlottesville. Oh, the lawn and pit are one of the worst. Okay, maybe I'll do lowers then. I know John is an Alpine OG. He's been there multiple times. So yeah, we'll have to, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, I digress. But my main thing is I don't think there's going to be a big Midwest push for the winter tour, just because they skip some dates in the summer. And again, I think there's population. There is no lower at Alpine, really. So it goes. Oh, so it's a full pit there. So section 202 is like right behind it. Okay. Well, I'll go for the reserved 135 then. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to show you guys a couple of these. Now, you guys may have seen this, but not everyone has seen this yet. So we want to take a look at these. This is Guilford, but we're going to go back. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to pick some. And if you guys are going to a show, put it in the chat and we'll try to hit that one up in this little run through. The first show we want to look at is Austin, Texas. And Austin, Texas has, your get-ins are $59. So the reserve seating. Are you going to Blossom? Huntsville, we'll get to Huntsville. So $59 for like the reserve seating at the Purple. 95 for the orange, one 135 for reserve seating down low, and 135 for the pit. And it looks like there's some club area. Excuse me. There's reserve seating in at like a club level, and I'm guessing that's at the mid level of this venue. It's 150. That's very interesting. This is a brand new venue that they have here for DMB, and this is where we're starting off. So this is no lawn here, but the get-ins are $59. The pit is 135, and so is the reserve 150 for some of the other stuff. The warehouse package for these events are 375, and this convenience fee of $21. Bro, the warehouse tickets are pretty much the cost of a PS5 right now. When you get all the taxes, it's pretty close. 375, then you get to 400, a $21 convenience fee, 400. I mean, you're right around that PS5 price range just for a ticket. But people who request for the people who request that ticket level, I've heard they've always gotten success. So someone may have gotten denied for those, but I heard nothing but success when you pay that amount of money. If you give, you begin to leave. John says 150 for the club level is a joke. I agree. It's one thing. It's one thing if you were at a sporting event. I've sat club level at the TD Garden a couple of times, and it's awesome. But like for a concert at the TD Garden, when you go on StubHub or somewhere else, the tickets are about the same or less. Just because for a concert, you want to be close, right? There's no advantage of sitting at the club. Now, when you go to a hockey game like I do, um, being at the club level, you can see everything perfectly. For basketball, courtside is obviously no brainer better. But for basketball, you get a nice little balance, and you also have that space. John says it better come with concierge. And Greg says the premiums, though, have been pushed further and further back. Gotcha. That's very interesting. So you mean push back, so they're getting worse seats. That would make sense, though, because Ticketmaster likes cashing in on these platinum seats. So they got people paying the premium price without the premium package. And bars and stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, the premiums. It depends on the venue. Actually, it depends on the venue because some of these new venues for arenas, like I just went to the chart. Yeah, the premium though for this the first venue was ridiculous. For the Austin venue, but in general, arenas are having the lower level is a club level. The first 5 or 6 rows at the UBS Arena in Belmont Park it's literally like there's a special entrance, and the Seattle Kraken have that for their new state. Their renovated arena. It used to be Key Arena. Actually, my boy Ray Allen, I got his jersey on right here. He played at Key Arena before it was renovated when the Sonics were out there. But anyway, yeah, I don't get charging premiums for that. So let's look at Houston. This is the first traditional amphitheater, and so pit seating is 135, reserve is 135 and 95, and the lawn is 49.50. What's also interesting, and you guys know this, right? A lot of you guys have been following the band. What they've done with this price seating map, it used to be like for most seating, it was like the lowers were orange and the uppers would be purple, whatever the color coding is, right? They've been slowly but surely sneaking in. All right, any good mid-level or upper level seat is now the same price. It's 135, which is kind of sad. It's frustrating, but it is what it is, right? We got to roll with the punches. With this venue, though, the get in to get reserved seating is $95, and it's the corners and really up at the back. But we're gonna look through some of the other venues are a little different as far as the pricing. And then we have the lawn 49.50. Now this is the low end of the lawn price, 49.50. Some of the other lawns are a little more expensive, as we'll see. But this is for Houston. Let's go to Dallas. And look at Dallas. You have 146 for the pit, 146.14 for the pit and the reserved, sorry, and then 102.84 for the uppers. So this is what's interesting. Dallas has a higher price for the lawn, for the reserve seating, cheaper price, and the reserve seating, expensive price in the pit. So that's what's interesting is they are the warehouse is literally playing Ticketmaster in the way that it's charging per venue. They are really like doing specific things with however they're looking at whatever tickets they get, the pit size, the venue location. And it's interesting because Dallas there's no income tax in Texas. But this Dallas show is going to be more expensive than Alpine. So I don't know the exact algorithm or how they're figuring out the pricing, but you could go somewhere down south and pay more money. And listen, obviously, there's going to be easier to get a Dallas ticket than an Alpine ticket. But hey, I'll take it. You're telling me Alpine's pit is 135. Alpine's other seats are 135, but I got to pay I would pay 156.14 if I went to Texas. I will take that. It's not local taxes driving up, to my knowledge, because it could be. But the fact is, Houston and Dallas would have had the same price. They would have had the same price in 2018, 2017. The pit would be the same. The pit was essentially the same across 99% of venues. There were certain venues where the pit price is different. You go to a Tahoe and the price is different because the pit is literally like the whole venue is a standing room with bleachers on top. So it's not, there's some sort of algorithm or something they're doing. Just go real quick to Brandon. We're going to skip through this real quick, but 135, 135.95. All right. No one cares about Brandon, Mississippi. Sorry. Orion Amphitheater. So this is going to be unique. This one is a Greek theater setup. You have your pit. You have these flat floor seats. And then you have two levels of like curvature, semicircle Greek theater setup, which the Berkeley Theater is set up on the original Greek, theaters that were set up in ancient Greece and Rome. So you have 147.15 for the pit standing. Reserve seating is 147 for the floor. And then they have this lower level. The uppers and the sides are 103.55. So this is a new venue. The cheapest ticket is 103.55. It's a little bit more expensive than the cheapest ticket to Houston, which is around 95. So you're gonna see, again, there's variable pricing, and this is 15 cents. Dallas was 14 cents. It's I don't know what is driving this. Yeah, the Hollywood Bowl, and I'm talking like not just DMB. Yeah, I used to work at StubHub and I used to know the ticket price. The Hollywood Bowl is very LA. It's more expensive for anybody. Like anytime someone goes to the Hollywood Bowl, your ticket price is dead in company. They don't have the same pricing structures. Even when 99% of the tour was one way, the Hollywood Bowl is always more expensive. And ticket prices across the board are going to be more expensive to make money back from 20. It's not limited to DMB. It's not even to make money back from 2020. A lot of the ticket price hike is the cost to bring everyone on tour is more expensive. The bus, the gas, the flights. To be fair, DMB didn't really lose money in 2020. They just fired their staff. Some people unfortunately didn't come back. I'm not saying this to spite them, but DMB didn't really lose money. They just didn't make money. They let people go, right? They let go of people. People were fired, and they really essentially a lot of those people are just on call, right? Greg says the testing, right? The testing does cost. They have to test 50, probably what 30, 40, 50 people every day that are working behind the scenes. Um, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They laid them off so they could collect unemployment. But really, that stuff is a contract. A lot of that stuff is contracted, right? So they do have certain staff they pay, but it's contingent upon touring. So in 2017, those people who did the DMB full band tour, who drove a bus for Rashawn or drove a bus for Tim, they didn't get on that Dave and Tim tour, right? Hey, Amy, thank you for coming on. So there's many different things that are contributing to this. We'll hop into Charlotte here just to see. And again, 144.79. There's different prices, and I don't really know what it is because when I'm going to tell you guys, when we get to Hartford, when we get to other spots in the Northeast that are more expensive to live in, or just more expensive for certain shows, like if there was going to be a rhyme and reason to have higher prices, it would be in the Northeast. And this isn't the case. We're in the South, and they're charging more. It'll be interesting to see if they sell out Huntsville and some other shows. And what I'll tell you is this: if you are going to a show now, by all means, go through the warehouse. Go through the warehouse, right? But my thing is this: if you're going to Brandon, Mississippi, you probably don't need to go through the warehouse. If you're going to the Orion Amphitheater, you probably don't need to go to the warehouse. It may be a little hot because it's a new amphitheater, but it's still DMB in that part of the South. Isn't in northern Alabama. Then there, I know John Dix is driving down there. He's a diehard, but there's not many diehards. The diehards are a small percentage of any crowd. But the casual fan isn't going to be paying this ticket per se in Huntsville, Alabama, where again the cost of living is down. And yes, Ticketmaster will be a mess. However, and Greg, I saw you at Guilford, right? I got tickets to both of those shows like the day before. So Ticketmaster did some things and they adjusted some prices of certain tickets because they weren't selling. So yes, for Mansfield and Hartford, it's going to be a mess. Those tickets are going to pretty much sell out, except the open air seating in Mansfield. But yes, 11% fee on top of the prices. Yeah, this is going to be costly. And listen, I have no kids. I budget a lot of money for this. And some of you guys don't have kids either, but like, I don't have a family. I don't have a mortgage, right? Just to be said, I don't own, like I rent. So, but anyway, so I don't have like if my hot water heater goes out, I'm not going to have to pay for that. So I have money at this part of my life. I can adjust, but even with the money that I have for touring that I budget well in advance, I'm still thinking, look, do I really want to pay these prices? We're going to get to that in a second. So we'll skip through. We'll skip through here. Let's go to Florida. Let's just go to Tampa. Because a lot of this stuff is the same. 145.13 for the pit here, and the lawn is 53.21. Reserve seating is 102.13 for the back of this venue and the sides, which the upper sides can be pretty rough depending on the venue. So you have these prices, 145.13 plus fees, and the pit is getting closer to, it's going to be about you're getting closer to 200 through Ticketmaster, if not 200. But that, and the convenience fee, what's frustrating is it's an 11% convenience fee. Versus like, that's steep. So you said many of the old school DMB fans from the 90s show up in the Deep South. It's interesting. I just know those shows are mad cheap. Like you go on StubHub the day before, the day of a show or the day before, those Southern ones, there's plenty of tickets in rotation. People can't get rid of tickets even before the pandemic, depending on the show. But that's the thing is like those midweek Southern shows, they don't get the crowds. Now they're doing smaller venues, so like a Jacksonville is going to sell out. They're getting they're doing a lot of smaller venues in the South. Orion Amphitheater is small. It's like I think what 8,000. Let's go to West Palm Beach just to see what this is. So again, 144.45, 52.97 for the lawn. So Luke says I might not go to any shows this year with these prices as a poor student. I feel you on that because my first year of DMB touring 10 years ago, I was graduating college. I had just graduated college and I was doing sales. I was doing commission only sales for a couple of months before I got like a decent job with using my communication degree. So I get that. And actually, Luke, what I'll tell you is you, it's okay. Like I remember I only could go to Hartford night one and then Mohegan night, the Mohegan 2012 show. I only went to two shows that year. And again, tickets were much even with the inflation and all that, tickets were much cheaper when I graduated in 2012 than it is now. I mean, it's crazy. Like even when you account that it's been a decade. But oh, you're talking about oh yeah, I remember seeing yeah, I've seen some of those tours. Yeah, they played at frat parties. Yes. That's okay. So those fans are showing up in the deep south. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because they were out of Charlottesville. So they would play Blockbuster in what Charlotte, I think, North Carolina. They would do those different frat parties. They would be playing on these SEC campuses um, right in the early years. But yeah, Luke, I'll tell you, listen, you will have plenty of years to build up your well. You listen, Luke. We'll talk in 5 years. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I remember when I was a broke college student. Um, but when you start to save up that money and build up, like it took me a while to get to this point where I could travel to a bunch of different shows and go to 10 shows last year, right? And it's better to just listen. It's not your as much as I thought I was missing out on stuff, listen, you get it back. I got to the gorge. I got to this. So yeah, take your time. Slow down, you crazy child. It's a Billy Joel Vienna. Credit One Stadium. Let's look at this. So this is 141.45 for the pit. I've heard mixed reviews about this venue from people. Some people said the sound was off. Some people said it was, they liked it for Dave and Tim. It'd be interesting to see the full band. This is a tennis stadium it's getting some upgrades, right? So maybe that means it'll have better sound, but it is getting some upgrades and renovations are underway here. And then Greg, which is Groton, he said I was looking at my subs from '07, etc. 75. Yeah, it was 75 for lowers, I believe, through like 2010 to 2012. Obviously, the Caravan was a different year, but I think when I first started going, pit tickets were 75. Now they're 141.45, right? So this is in the bleachers are at the really tippy top. I'm interested to see how this GA bleachers is going to work. They have general admission bleachers, they have reserved red seating up here, but I wonder how that works. How much tickets do they sell and how can you guarantee to sit next to friends if it's like almost full? Cuz this is going to sell out. Now, Jacksonville is much smaller. They only have a couple price points. The pit 144.38 and then 101.38. This is going to be for the South an intimate venue. If you can get those prices through the warehouse, by all means, get them. And this is going to be a show you want to go through the warehouse. Jacksonville, Florida. So Blossom, someone said they were going to Blossom. See, look at this. Blossom is 139.05. So Blossom is cheaper than than the Texas shows for the lawn. 139.05. I mean than Dallas. No, cheaper than Dallas, excuse me. 139.05 for the pit, 139.05 for reserve, and 97.85, and then 50.99. So Blossom is going to be cheaper, and Blossom is a much better venue than Dallas. The sound, the beauty of it in Cuyahoga County, which is just where Cuyahoga Falls is the south of Cleveland, but Cleveland is in Cuyahoga County. We'll skip Bristol. Let's go to Mansfield. So look at this. Mansfield is 135. So you're gonna get a Hartford two-step, which is gonna be like, which is legendary. You know, these are legendary venues. Now, Mansfield sometimes gets a more commercial set, especially now that it's one night. I feel that now Mansfield gets more of the, you'll get some more hits. Like you'll get an Ants Martian, you'll get a So Much to Say or Too Much type thing, or What Would You Say? Even Trip during they've had Trip and Billy's out there, which is more of a rarity nowadays, but was more popular back in the day. But you'll get more mainstream stuff here, but it's still a great show, right? You'll get a Sugar Will popped in, a Long Black Veil. We got two Long Black Veils, I think, back to back years in Mansfield at one point. So, yes, it is the Friday night show. So, yeah, there are radio hits, but they did one year, they did. But what I'll say is this, it's not just that it's the Friday show. They did in Hartford 2015. In 2015, they did, so 2014, Hartford had two shows, Mansfield had one. In 2015, Hartford was night one. That was my first pit show. They brought Branford Marsalis to Hartford, not Mansfield. And Hartford had Butterfly, which is extremely rare. Mansfield had definitely had like Raven and the Stone, but Hartford, even when it was the Friday night show for one year in 2015, it got a special guest and it got some special, like the main set in Hartford was a little bit better than the main set in the electric set in Mansfield. Although the acoustic set in Mansfield is awesome. Raven and the Stone were both played in the acoustic set. But see, you got 135 even for the best seats. And then let's go to Hartford. And again, Hartford has 135. So a Hartford pit seat is cheaper than a Dallas pit seat. These are both Saturday shows. And if you go to Hartford, Connecticut, don't go because I want to get a ticket. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all can come down. Come down. We need the economy to come up, right? Boost the economy. No, seriously, Hartford. I believe in Hartford. I support Hartford, and they've suffered a lot with COVID. The businesses down here. I talked to a restaurant owner here in the suburbs, my local Italian go-to restaurant, and he was saying his buddies in Hartford, they were just struggling. You know, I know someone who was laid off from the Capitol Grill, nice upscale restaurant. Dave actually was there. He met Dave at Capitol Grill. I think you know where that is, Greg. Capitol Grill in Hartford. He met Dave there, right? So that's where Dave went because he knew he could get away from most of the fans because it's upscale dining. Now y'all gonna go to the Capitol Grill to be staking out, trying to find Dave. I think he went though like the Thursday before the or like I think it was the night before. I don't know. It had to be the day of. I can't remember. Anyway, he did. He showed me a picture. So yeah, Hartford is cheaper than Dallas, 135. And let's see, Toronto. I'm really concerned about this Toronto show. The reason I say that, on the Ants Marching forum, someone was saying, because I only watch Canada when my hockey team is up in Canada. And apparently someone was saying they were watching hockey in Canada and they only had like 50% of the crowd there. Like this week. I have to check that. But they said recently, like in the last week, they've had games at 50%. So what does that mean for DMB? If hockey, the most prized possession of Canada, is at 50% capacity, if Ontario and Quebec, so we don't have to worry about Quebec. Quebec has the Canadians and out there, but Ontario is the province right next to Detroit and right next to Michigan where Toronto is. Ontario, if they have 50% crowds and they're doing that for hockey, if they're in, great. I mean, great. It may be open by summer, but if there is another variant that comes by, and I know most of this stuff is happening during the holidays, this will be before 4th of July. And I know that I'm going to have to listen. I'm going to have to schedule a test in advance or use my at-home test when I get back from Alpine just to make sure I'm good with, my loved ones. But the thing is, if there is some sort of variant, Canada could shut down. it's still at, and again, there's still plenty of time. It's only February, and Omicron is pretty much whatever was the highest point appears to be gone. But if something pops up again, Canada is not afraid to shut. When they shut down hockey, is the sporting economy of Canada. A DMB show is nothing compared to a hockey game. They could say, "Hey, we're gonna have some sort of like rivalry game in Toronto on June 23rd, right, the day after DMB," and that would be like, "Oh my God, oh, we're gonna have some like mini tournament. We're gonna bring all the hockey teams from Canada to Toronto, and we're gonna play." Like that is the economy for sports. So if they're treating hockey like that, if something does spike up, they have a day between show. They literally will have to overnight cross the border, right? If the border's open, I think it will still go on. I still think there's a possibility Toronto will still go on, but there's still, listen, if something goes left, if there's any sort of variant skill, any sort of uptick before, then they're done for. Let's look at Deer Creek. So Deer Creek is 135, 95, 49. You guys can see that. Let me zoom in. 135. I think that's as much as I can zoom in. I'm sorry if you guys can't. Oh, there we go. So 135, 95, 49. You guys can see that. And then we have Jones Beach. Now, Jones Beach doesn't have a lawn. It has reserved seating. It has an upper deck. We have 135 and 95 for the really tippy top, right? And this is what's crazy for Jones Beach. This venue has a bunch of lower level tiers. Like it goes from here, the pit, and then it goes a little further back, and then it goes a little further back, and then they have seats under the overhang at the back of the lower level. That's all orange. And then they have an upper deck, which has, the two different price points there. 135 and 95. So Jones Beach, I wouldn't even think about going to this show personally, just because of those price points. If you live close to Long Island. Homedale, let's take a look. Oh, wow. So Homedale just has 135. This is terrible. Avoid these shows. Avoid Homedale. So you said probably why they didn't go to Vancouver after. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, I was just up there. Vancouver is very far from the gorge. Michigan, which is a show before, Michigan to Toronto is 4 hours. I mean, Clarkston, Michigan to Toronto, I think is about 3-4 hours. And that's counting the border crossing, because that's going to take time. I did a Google map of it. When I was at the gorge, I drove from Bellingham, Washington, which is about 30 minutes from the border. And Vancouver is still another, when you get across the Canadian border, it's still another like 45 minutes to an hour. So I drove from Bellingham, Washington to Wenatchee. So I went through the mountain. I went down south for about an hour and a half. And then I went for another hour and a half. I went east through the mountains. So going from the gorge to Vancouver is a lot, and I think it's a huge risk. And also, I don't think Vancouver wouldn't sell as well as Toronto. Toronto is a good venue for DMB. Vancouver, they've played there. They play at the Vancouver Canucks arena out there. I don't know what it's called now. They keep changing the name, but it's not as popular. But avoid these two, Jones Beach and Homedale, unless you live in the area. Those are ripoffs. Now, look at this. Again, Alpine. Alpine is 135. Now, again, this is going to be a harder ticket to get through the warehouse. But if you get an Alpine ticket, you're paying less than Dallas. Now, yes, it's like $5 or $10 less, when you look at the 11% fee, but that does matter still. The fact that it's cheaper is kind of awesome. Lawn is $49.50. Then we're going to go to Spickety Spack. Now, Spack again, which has less seats, and this is interesting. You would think Spack would be like dynamically priced higher because there's less seats, and also, um, are you talking about Jones Beach? Yeah, in the Jones Beach map, the front center upper deck seats were actually priced high, but the Jones Beach upper deck is not like the SPAC upper deck. The Jones Beach upper deck, you're still pretty far from the stage. Because, like I said, they have like levels. They have the pit, they have a floor, they have a little bit of a rise, they have a little bit more of a rise. Like, so the Jones Beach upper deck is not ideal. It's a cool view, I'm sure, and I've seen some pictures of it. I haven't personally been, full disclosure, but it looks far. Yeah. So 135. So the trend is a lot of these shows are 135 or like the 140s pricing. New Hampshire, and this is an intimate venue, 135. The lawn is 49.50. You can get a 2-day lawn package. So these Camden is 135, right? So I'm just going to skip that. Camden's 135. Bethel Woods 135 as well. I'm just looking at the most expensive. There's a 95. There's terrace seating. That's 75. Now Bethel Woods is the same price. Oh, you said that before. Raleigh. Again, this is interesting. Raleigh is 144.79 for GA Pit and the reserve, and then but the lawn is 5309. And Raleigh has more seats and capacity than SPAC, and SPAC is cheaper. So I don't know what's going on. Now, it's odd because the sales tax and everything would be more expensive in New York than it would be in North Carolina, even with the local county tax and all that. Tahoe is 147 for everything. The Gorge is 141 for the nice seats. The lawn is 51.98. I don't think those ticket prices will affect the Gorge. Now, the cost to actually rent a camper and to camp is going to affect the Gorge. If that stuff is more expensive than some people can afford, you may see a little bit of a decrease in the Gorge, but people will still go. Colorado, 135, 95.49. So that's what we've been seeing. And I'm just going to skip to Hollywood Bowl. This is the one that's crazy. And again, this venue is different than anything you're going to see. So 175 for Pitt and 175 for a couple of reserve seating, 124 and then 89. And again, this is a unique thing. And these tickets are always like on the secondary are always expensive. So it's expected that the base face value is going to be cheaper. I mean, more expensive. Sorry, the face value is going to be more expensive. There. So the one thing I want to caution people with, again, I just want to caution you with over requesting tickets for the warehouse. If it's a venue, like let's go through this, right? So, I mean, you can request what you want. Again, full disclosure. But like I would request possibly for the West Palm Beach shows, May 28th, May 29th. You can request for the opening night Moody Center, but I still think you could get a decent ticket. It's going to sell out, but you can find a ticket last minute because it is Austin, which is the popular list. And, you know, it's a growing city, but DMB is not like they've played there a million times. Daly's Place, you want to put something in. South Carolina, you may want to put something in for Credit One. You can put in for Hartford and Mansfield, but it's not a necessity unless you really want to go. There'll be stuff around, especially from Mansfield. You just have to wait it out. Deer Creek, obviously, you're going to want to request for those. Alpine and SPAC. And Camden as well, you may want to put a request in. Other than that, the Gorge, you can get tickets anytime. Like, there's only so many people that are going to physically make that trip, and everyone always has extra tickets, warehouse tickets that you can verify. You say the Northeast venues plus DC, Alpine, West Palm Beach, and Gorge. I don't think not much of the Northeast because Guilford you can get tickets, right? Mansfield you can get a ticket last minute. Hartford, that's probably going to be a tough. You may want to put in for Hartford, but it's only really Hartford for the Northeast that you want to put in for. Jones Beach and Homedale, those tickets are pretty trash. I mean, those ticket prices are trash, and those shows are never like special. At least in the like based on last year. They have played like they played the last stop there, but it also rained. Like there was a torrential downpour, and they canceled the show. They postponed the show. That's why the last I got played. Yeah, the Hollywood Bowl you're gonna want to put in for that, and Fiddlers you're gonna want to put in for Fiddlers as well. So those are the ones you're gonna want to put in for. What I want to do next is while I'm bringing this up though, keep in mind this could be an album touring year, so you may want to hold back again to see what the set list look like for certain venues. Now you can do whatever you want by all means, but again, if they're playing again, if they only play like two new songs a show or three new songs a show, it's one thing, especially because these new songs are good. But if they play six new songs a tour and you are investing so much money in this tour, you may regret it unless you just if you're open to whatever the band plays, fine. But if you're like me and many of my listeners, you guys are searching for the best opportune set list. They're not going to do all crazy stuff like Fish and play like, oh, they never played any of these songs in the last 3 months of touring. It's a unique show. They're not doing that. But you want to have a little bit of both. You want to hear some of the new stuff, but you want to hear some of the classics and the stuff in between. It could be flooded with new music, which again, even if it's good, it's still new music, right? It's not the classics. So be careful with the ticket prices going up, but the variable pricing, like you could go to a Charlotte show and it's more expensive than Alpine. You really want to really hold back until you see what the tour is like, right? Lock in a big venue, right? Lock in an Alpine, a SPAC, lock in a West Palm Beach, a Fiddlers. But you want to see with some of these midweek shows, you want to see what they're doing. But the next thing I wanted to bring up here, and I know, Greg, you've been to Fenway, I believe it was I don't know if it was for DMB or someone else. You had mentioned that too at Farm Aid when we were talking. But there is a misconception that these stadium shows, set list wise, I'm not talking about the energy. Now, yes, I know the energy at these giant stadium shows, many fans I talked to and many fans that are post online. I was talking to some awesome fans in New York at MSG about some of these like East Rutherford, listener supported show, the Central Park show. We talked about Giant Stadium, um, and I talked to people, a bunch of different people this past tour that were OGs and veterans. And these shows from an energy level were great, but it was still a crowded stadium. But what I want to show you guys is the set lists from some of these were not marginally better than some of the best of the amphitheaters down the road. So we're gonna do a show by show comparison. Okay. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare these shows. We're gonna compare a 3-night stand at Giant Stadium to a 3-night stand this is a 3-night stand in Hartford. Now, again, this is this is probably the most legendary year of Hartford ever. Is 2000, right? At the Meadows. It was still called the Meadows back then. But let me compare these side by side. Oops. Okay. Oops. It's not letting me. Okay. So this is Hartford night 1 versus Giant Stadium night 1. Hartford, you have a stone opener, drive in, drive out, don't drink the water, Satellite Raven Granny, Bartender Gray Street, Rhyme and Reason, Watchtower mid show, Busted Stuff, Lionheart Grace, So Much to Say, Anyone Who Sings a Bridge Too Much, Grace is Gone, PNP Rapunzel. Giant Stadium, right? You got like 80,000 people. First time Rapunzel has been played in the encore since 5/25/98. You have 41 Jane, So Much to Say, Bridge Too Much, One Sweet World, Busted Stuff, 36 Grays, Bartender, Say Goodbye, Gray Street, JTR. Typical, What Would You Say, Stay, Grace is Gone, Heartbreak, PNP, Rapunzel, right? So these shows are about the same. That PNP Rapunzel closer is a unique thing. Now the Giant Stadium show happened first. Keep in mind, that's why it says the first time Rapunzel has been back. So the Giant Stadium show took place first. But the Hartford show has a mid-set Watchtower back when it was actually a good. I don't like the current Watchtower with Tim CDC. So you have a Rhyme and Reason, right? You have a Bartender. In 2000, man, Bartender was fire. They both have Lionheart Graves. Giant Stadium has JTR. So, you do have some stuff that you could trade, but it's really even. There's no real difference to this. Now, let's go to night 2 for each of these. So, 7/12. And then we're going to go to $8.25, $8.26. Excuse me here. All right. So we have Hartford, One Sweet World, Boa, 41, Jane, Warehouse, Lover Lay Down. They get JTR. Two-step, Busted Stuff, Jimmy, Typical, Crash, True Reflections, Tripping, Ditch, What Would You Say? This show to the right, Warehouse, Granny, Don't Drink, Satellite Recently, Drive In, Drive Out, I'll Back You Up, Sweet Up and Down, Jimmy, Crash, True Reflections, Gray Street, Stay, Long Black Veil, Two-Step, The Maker, Watchtower Closer. You could argue that Giant Stadium has a little bit more juice, but there's and the reason I say that is you have a Drive In, Drive Out, I'll Back You Up tour debut, right? That's pretty dope. And they have a set closer, but then Hartford has a mid-set two-step. So, I mean, you could argue, and then has Best of What's Around. You really could argue which one is better. It's not like one is clearly better than the other. And again, one's in a stadium, one is in an amphitheater. Next up, and the cool thing about this Hartford weekend, they play Busted Stuff all 3 nights, which you'll see in a second. This is Live Tracks 3, right? And we're going to move. Oops, did I move it already? Oh, yeah, I already changed it. That's why. Okay, so let's compare these. So we have Hartford is on the left. Obviously, it's Live Tracks 3. Nancy's, Seek Up, Heartbeat, Linus and Lucy, PNP, Rapunzel, Back You Up, Busted, Recent Raven. You guys can read it. Maker, Gray Street, Grace, Say Bye, Bartender, JTR, Ants Marching. This is probably one of the best encores ever. The Stone into Drive In, Drive Out. right? Giant Stadium, Seek Up, PMP Rapunzel, Rhyme and Reason, Bartender, Nancy's, Boa, Raven Crush, JTR, Stay, Watchtower, Lover Lay Down, Gray Street, Sweet Up and Down, Tripping, Grace, Ants Marching. Hartford obviously wins this. I mean, you have a lot of the same stuff. They have the JTR, they have a Raven, but Hartford has a Nancy's opener, which is unique, and then it goes into Seek Up. It has a encore of Stone and Drive In, Drive Out. It's got a Maker in there. It's got a Recently to Raven. It's got an Old School Gray Street, which so does the other one, but it really has that Heartbeat Linus and Lucy, which is not in the Giant Stadium one. But if you look at this head to head, to me, the clear winner is going to be, you know, the I would pick Hartford weekend over the Giant Stadium for this specific year. Now let's look at 2010. I want to bring us to 2010. And what I want to do is I'm going to put a Hartford show. I'm going to put a Hartford show against a Ballpark show. So let's look in 2010. What do we have? Maybe we'll do City. Yeah. So we'll do City Field. And this is actually the City Field release. Right. Oops. Okay. So, gonna zoom out a little bit. Okay. So this is Hartford 2010. JTR 7, Hello Again, Spaceman, Proudest Monkey, Satellite, Funny the Way It Is, Rye Whiskey, Shake Me Like a Monkey, Busted Stuff, Kit Kat Jam 41, Gray Street, You and Me, who cares? Nancy's Too Much, Ants Marching, Break for It, You Might Die Trying. That is a wild run. The first time since 2003 that 4 songs were played that hadn't been played in full band for over 1,000 days. First time Kit Kat Jam was played since 2003, and this is 2010. So both openers are solid. Stone and JTR cancel each other out. But the encore you have at City Field is to the right. Again, the ballpark is to your right. The amphitheater is to your left. The encore is far superior. Yes, that Hartford had 6 liberations this weekend. And so what I'm saying is Hartford and City Field in Queens are about 2 hours and 15 minutes away from each other. But it may depend on traffic. You could probably do it in about 2 hours, like right at this time of night. But the point is, you could have gone to Hartford and got a better show than you got at City Field. Right. Yep. And 2 more were the next night. They had four liberations night 1, 2 more the next night. So my point is, a lot of people are like, oh, we want the band to go back to Fenway. We want the band to go back to this venue. We want the band to go back to that venue. Ballpark. We just want Wrigley Field. Just give us Fenway Park. No, we don't want it, because when the band was doing legendary things, 2010 was a special tour. They were bringing out some old stuff, right? And they only did it for a little bit, but they brought it back. You had a blackjack partial for they had 12 blackjacks that they tried out. And you look at this, right? JTR has played 8 times. Kit Kat Jam was only played 4 times, but they brought it back. Busted Stuff got 6 plays. Break For It got 7 plays. That's huge. And it was a song debut, right? 7 plays of a super rare song, right? That's a great thing. So my point is, we don't need a ballpark for this band to do great things. When ballparks were in play, literally, pun intended, you had some legendary stops along the way. And if we just go to like 2000 and if we just go through 2010, right, you'll see some special stuff. They did sound check Hello Again. I think and then they actually liberated it. So people who could hear that sound check, I'm sure they were like mad excited. And at that time, actually, anytime when you could hear sound checks, you didn't know if they were going to play it that night. So even Spec got a Kit Kat Jam. It got a Dream Girl. It got a, you know what I mean? Like, there was so many things. They got a Last Stop Tease, right? A Fish Tender. This is SPAC, right? This is still a solid show. It holds up against City Field as well. Now look at this. You had a Cry Freedom. This is SPAC Night 2. You had an Idea View, which was a tour debut. One of 2 Idea Views in 2010. You had a Still Water partial. You had a Granny 41, Needle in the Damaged Lung, Neil Young cover, a 2-step, Some Devil, right? So you still had some solid stuff. And even if we go to, is there an Alpine from this year? Yep. So you have Alpine 2010, a Big Eye Fist Stay or Leave Stone. Are you kidding me? A Blue Water partial, a 3-minute Blue Water. I think I got like a minute and a half, 2-minute Blue Water in 2013 in Hartford. All right, good night, Amy. Thank you so much for checking in. Little Red Bird into 2-step. That's pretty dope. Nancy's Warehouse. This is night 1 of Alpine. They played July 4th. You had I'll Back You Up in the encore. A Break For It, right? A Say Goodbye, Lying in the Hands of God, Ditch, Drive and Drive Out. That's a nice little run there. One Sweet World in the Bartender. Like, that's what look at this, guys. This is the ballparks were not giving you shows that were marginally better than this. And he's saying West Palm Beach after that blows. So let's look at that. After City Field, we have Cruising Amphitheater. So that's what. So they had a Boa, they had a good time, a Billy's, Minarets. Yeah, so this is solid. Only one of 7 Minarets at that time. And 731. Oh, whoa. This show is wow. Stone Warehouse. All right, Funny Stare Leave. Spaceman, Line of Hands of God, Shake Me. Once you get through a couple of these, Last Stop, into Proudest Monkey, Satellite to Cortez, Lionheart Graves, Cornbread, Blackjack, Stay, Jimmy Thing. Let's see where it says. Oh, he's on the trombone. Is that trombone? Who is? Oh, Government Mule. So you had a mule opener, and I guess they had a guy on trumpet. But that encore, Needle on the Damage Done in a 2-step. And the opener, and then the middle, and the blackjack at the end of the set. So, yeah, Cortez and Last Stop. That's impressed to have both of those in the same show. Last Stop was Liberated and Cortez in the same show. They hadn't been played since 06, so it's been 4 years. So, yeah, this is. Thank you for sharing that, Greg. Well stated point there. So that's the thing. These ballparks, the nostalgia you have with the ballparks, the nostalgia you even have with the Caravan. a lot of it is, yes, at that time the band was doing certain things they don't do anymore as far as creativity. They had less new songs, even though there's a lot of big whiskey here. There is. Let's be honest, some of it does slow down the momentum. We have four big whiskey songs in 2010, right? That's going to slow down some of the momentum. But even with that, if you just say you get a Cortez, a Last Stop, a Needle in the Damage Done, and these are actually covers that I wouldn't mind. Um, and a Stone opener, you kidding me? You'll take some of this stuff. That's why the thing about it is, if the band plays three songs, like think about it, Last Stop, Stone, Cortez, or even just say forget covers. You say Last Stop, Stone, Two Step. Having those three songs, or you could put Blackjack instead of Two Step because Blackjack's rarer and it was pretty epic. I got it in my first show in 2012. It's epic, and I know they were different. 2010's Blackjack is different than 2012's, but just like Shotgun, some of the earlier Shotguns were just like they just had emotions that some of the later ones didn't. But anyway, I digress. The point is, this is exactly what I mean by people who want these ballparks. People who want to go back to Bader Field. Listen, it was awesome. I get it. There were so many, like the Caravan had all these guests, right? And all this special stuff and all these unexpected things. But the band also only played the Caravan plus a little, that was all they really did. So they gave their heart and they did all this rare stuff. They knew diehard fans were coming out and they played the rare stuff. That's probably never coming back in that type of format. I don't even know how much the tickets would cost for a modern day Caravan. They can grab Bella Fleck and they can grab Alan Stone. They can grab some other bands to open up, have a mid-tier opener, then a top-notch opener, like the second act for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Gorge. But my point is, these days are over. They could make a new era of like special runs. Like 2013 was a special run of just DMB doing things that you never even expected, like having Captain in heavy rotation, right? And having Tim actually, I thought Tim did a great job with Captain in 2013 and 2013 on. But this is just evidence that this whole ballpark thing that people wanted, oh, I want to go back to Fenway. No. Let's do amphitheaters. Let's have the best sound we can get. Obviously, some of these amphitheaters have bad sound. They have not upgraded the speakers. They have not upgraded the quality of the certain amenities. Lakewood is a trash dump, right? People are not excited in Atlanta to go to Lakewood because they know it's a dump compared to Alpharetta, which has a newer venue. It's only like 10, 15 years old versus Lakewood is just like 30 years. It's like just old. So this is what I mean where I say, look, let's look at the data. Let's not just say we're going to split hairs and all that. Yeah, I'm sure the Caravans are great. Flat fields and it's never going to happen. Like, I don't think maybe a closing tour. Maybe they bring Humphreys McGee and they bring Zach Brown or they bring David Gray for their final one. Oh, you did AC, Chicago, one night Governor's Island. Okay, you did Governor's Island as well. Okay. But like to me, that's never happening. Plus, if they have a Caravan, they need to have it like at the Gorge. They need to have it at Camden. Like I would rather them have a Caravan type thing in a place with elevated seats. I don't like these flat GA areas. We'll see how I do with sound on the sound, depending on how that setup is. But yeah, let's just take the Caravan out of this. The ballparks, period. Football, baseball, multi-purpose, like the Vet, right? There were some great shows, but there were also great shows out in Camden across from Veterans Stadium in South Philly, across the river in Camden, New Jersey. Their shows just as good as the Vet. We just talked about East Rutherford, New Jersey. There were shows across the parking lot of Giant Stadium, not even across a river. You could walk. You can walk. Well, they demolished both venues, but I've been to the Meadowlands for various things. You could walk from Giant Stadium to the Continental Airlines Arena at the time, and ended up becoming the Izod Center. You could walk across a parking lot, and you had listener support at the Izod or Continental Airlines, and you had a two-step in the rain right across the parking lot at Giant Stadium. So you can have these great things at different venues in similar eras of the band. Now the um again, there's special moments at ballparks. Maybe they did certain songs at Fenway, like they did Dirty Water at Fenway one year, and you're not going to get that at Mansfield, but that's one song. Mansfield had Victor Wooten guest on number 41, right? In 2013, night two, right? Mansfield has had some special moments as well. And when you look at Hartford, when you compare Hartford to any of the stadiums, whether it was Foxborough Stadium or Giant Stadium, Hartford holds its own against the competitors. So that's where I'm at. What we want to do, if please let me know what I want to do on Saturdays. I want to have people come on the show. I will give you a link. I will put the link in the live chat, but message me, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to come on, we'll give you about, what it'll be like a college sports calling show. We'll give you some time if we. Do say now the special venue. I do hope they play. Are you talking about MGM in Springfield or Vegas? MGM Grand Arena? Or are you talking about the one in which one are you talking about? Christopher says Hartford Night 2 in 2007. Let's see. Las Vegas. See, the thing about that venue is now outdated. I think it's MGM Garden Arena. The latest venue in Vegas is the T-Mobile Center or T-Mobile Arena. They have T-Mobile Park now, which used to be Safeco. But the state of the art venue now is going to be that, or like the Cosmopolitan in Vegas was a. Oh, that had the first full band 27. Oh, okay, but that venue's old. I can see the teal seats in the MGM Grand Arena or MGM Garden Arena. I think it's MGM Garden because they had a lot of boxing matches, but that venue's old. Fish plays it still. But the venue to play is T-Mobile Arena, where the Vegas Golden Knights play. That's where they would play. Because that venue's outdated now. It's time flies, and I know they had one of the live tracks is MGM at the I believe it's the Garden Arena. Actually, it may be in 07. Let's look at the Hartford though. You're saying Hartford Night 2. Then thank you for coming on, Christopher. But if you guys want to come on, this was MGM Grand Vegas. I thought it was the MGM Garden. Oh, the Fray opened up for them? I love the Fray back in the day. I think it's the MGM Garden Arena. Let me look that up. Like that's the hotel. Yeah, it's the Grand Garden Arena. I think that's what it is. Yep. Because Fish plays here all the time. Yeah, so this is the venue. Like I said, the teal seats. Because I used to sell tickets. Well, not sell, but because StubHub didn't sell tickets. When I worked at StubHub, there used to be events here. Yeah. Yeah, so see how outdated this is? This is why they built the T-Mobile Arena. This venue still will get, like I said, Fish will sell this thing out because there's, Vegas is so there's so many entertainment things going on. And now that they have sports here, they have college basketball. As you see, that's what that court is. They have so many concerts, they have residencies, and they've always been entertainment, but they're adding more like entertainment outside of like the little side shows. Oh, it's set up like MSG sound wise. Okay. Right. And it's smaller than T-Mobile, but I think T-Mobile is the spot because they're gonna have the T-Mobile is newer, so it probably has the more latest and greatest sound mix in technology. This venue, while again, a fish show is a fish show, you're gonna get fish heads to come here. But if you go to T-Mobile, if the DMB ever plays that, that probably has like things that were built in 2015, 2016 when that thing was being built. That technology is going to be better than whatever they could even renovate here, barring some catastrophic error. Yeah, so they had these shows. That was a lot. I have this live tracks. So the first number 27 was played here. Interesting. Very cool. Let's go to Hartford, though. Where is it? New England Dodge, night 2. Okay. So this is Hartford, night 2. Seek up satellite. Where you going? Number 27 idea. Anyone sees a bird too much. Oh, wow. So the only shotgun. That's pretty epic. Only shotgun ever at the Meadows. The maker, cornbread, bartender, Nancy's warehouse. So much everyday ants. Some devil ABI. Watchtower during the Roy era. Then they go to Philly after this. Look out, Philly. Here we come. Okay. Oh, that's what you mean. Hartford 20s. Okay, that was the 27. Okay. And first time Dave played some double at a full band show. Very interesting. Very interesting. First full band, well, at a full band show. He did it solo, but the first time he actually played. Wow. Yeah, pretty cool show. I'm not a fan of cornbread, but there's the bartender to Nancy's to warehouse. That's pretty epic. You get the 27 idea of you shotgun. So there's songs that they were road testing in 06 and 07. Very cool to see that. And that Seek Up opener. Hey, anytime they open up with Seek Up, it's epic. Rashawn is there with Roy, training under Roy, really, for what he would eventually become, which is the band, the band's quarterback. Oops. All right, that's all I have. But again, if you guys put in the comments, message me if you want to call in or be in. I'll send you a link. You come on. You can talk about what shows you're looking forward to for the tour, what you're excited about, what are you disappointed about. 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Tune in, and from there, we'll talk about that. I mean, we have so much to talk about. There's so much energy and excitement from this tour announcement. So we'll keep the train rolling. Also, at some point, I will get my Fish Noob video out on Divided Sky. I'm still working on it. I got some content, but this tour announcement just threw me for a loop. But I will get that Fish Noob Divided Sky video at some point. Give me through this weekend, and I should have it up for people who watch the Fish Noob series that I've been doing, which is, again, I'm learning about fish. I'm playing fish on my guitar, and I'm going to have organic videos about it. I'm not just going to react to it once a week just to react to it for people to watch it. I want to make sure if I'm making a video about fish, there's a specific reason, specific things that I'm learning and liking about the music, and even trying to get as hands-on as possible on certain songs to really play it, to really feel what it feels like to play the fish stuff. So thank you guys for watching. It's your boy Conserviz34. We are going to end the show. And what we're going to do is, all right, we're going to end on this this Batson Session song. Thank you again for watching. This is ABC from the Batson Sessions. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the like button. That helps me to get exposure. Even if you're watching this on replay, hit the like button. It helps again for me to get that exposure, which then helps more people to see this. Tell your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend to check this out. 10 p.m. Wednesdays, 10 p.m. on Saturdays. And when the tour starts, I will be as ambitious as I was last year, where for most shows, I had a post-show stream, right? You look at my history, pretty much after every show, I had a post-show stream, and that's my goal. We want to talk to people from the shows. We want to bring them on this show. If I went to the show, I want to share my experience. I want to build this community. Thank you guys for the support. There's been new people I've seen on here, people who have been rocking me for a couple years, like Greg and John Dix. And I really appreciate all the support. Let's leave you with ABC from the Batson Sessions.